even get into today's topic because I know you're looking at the title like, ooh, okay. I want you guys to go ahead and view the video prior to this. It's talking about our 100 subscriber giveaway. Kay Donnell reached 100 subscribers, and I went and picked up some things from Target that I want to give to the winner. Winner will be announced February 3rd because February 3rd is a special day. February 3rd is our 1 year, which is so awesome because, like, we're almost there. Really crazy. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about sex. And why are we talking about sex? Because I have been on my social media, I have been watching TV, I have been just seeing sex everywhere. And people are having sex that shouldn't be having sex. And I'm like, am I the only person not doing it? Oh my God, seriously. Like, it is crazy. And I just want to share some stuff, some real stuff about celibacy, about sex that maybe other people aren't talking about. Because really right now we're at a point where in the world, the media is pushing sex. Like, everything is hypersexualized. Young kids are hypersexualized. Just sex is everywhere. And if I don't talk about it, if I don't talk about it being a Christian, a woman of God, then we're all going to have a skewed, biased idea of what sex is, and we're all going to be doing it. Because if we be honest, if you've ever had sex, sex is awesome. Sex is great. Like, if I could have sex, I would have sex, but I can't. I'm not, I've made that decision that I'm not going to do it right now, and I want to share my reasons as to why, okay? Overall, in general, we're struggling. We're struggling to get our people not to have sex. And it's because we're giving them churchy answers as to why they shouldn't have sex. Make sure that you don't have a churchy reason only for why you are deciding to not have sex. Because yes, the Bible does tell us that fornication is bad. Having sex before marriage is bad. But then we pair that with the feeling of how good sex feels, and it's like, but it feels good, so I don't know why I would want to not do it. So again, we have to have more than a churchy answer as to why we're not having sex. So I'm going to give you some practical reasons, the reasons that I have for myself, as to why I'm not having sex. Because if we be real, one day you're going to get out of your churchy mindset and you're going to find yourself in a situation where you have found somebody that you want to have sex with, and you're going to want to have sex with them more than you're going to want to please God. So until you get to the time in space where you're so into pleasing God, you have to establish a reason outside of God as to why you want to remain celibate. And that's going to help you to please God, okay? So put the two and two together. All right. We as people have flesh desires, and these flesh desires help us to exist as a human being, right? You have to eat food, you have to drink water, and in order for our species to survive, we have to create. We have to make more humans, right? So we always have these natural desires to be hungry, to be thirsty, and also to sleep, because we always get sleepy, right? After a certain amount of hours, we cannot function without sleep. And then we also have the desire to have sex, okay? And the world, our life, has taught us how to deal with these other desires. If you're hungry, go get something to eat. Make sure it's healthy, please, people. If you're sleepy, go get some rest. If you're thirsty, drink some water. But when it gets down to, oh, you want to have sex, we lean to whatever other answers there are out there, and we become misguided, right? So the world is singing to us about sex. They're showing us sex. There's movies about sex, books about sex. I mean, literally sex is everywhere. And so because we're not properly informed, or because we only have church answers as to why we need to remain celibate or why fornication is bad, then, the feeling of sex, how great it feels, outweighs, supersedes us wanting to please God, or us wanting to not have sex or to remain celibate. So when we put it on the scale, it's not large enough to balance out reasons for us not to have sex. So we have to have practical reasons. And I can be churchy and tell you all day long, you need to make sure that you're pleasing God. You need to make sure you're doing right by God. But you're going to eventually get outside of your church mindset, outside of your righteous mindset, if we just be real, and you're going to say, you know what? The feeling of sex right now, even the thought of having sex, because The thought of having sex right now seems and feels better than me pleasing God at this very moment. I'll go and I'll repent later. That's where we get to. So we have to have reasons outside of church, outside of the Bible, that tell us, and of course I'm going to tell you guys those ones, but we have to have reasons outside of that, because we're not always going to function in our church mindset. Let me tell you, people, I'm going to tell you this because I've been there. So, okay, one thing that I found to be real from my life experience is that relationships are better when you do not have sex. Relationships are more genuine, they're more honest, they're more truthful if you're not having sex. So the quality of my relationships was better. And so I had to hold on to the fact that if I don't have sex, my relationship is going to be better. How is it going to be better? Okay. So when you have sex with somebody, what happens is a lot of times your focus goes on sex. Sex is a very big thing. Sex is very enjoyable. And so the relationship gets directed to that area where you're always constantly having sex. You guys talk about sex. When you see each other, you're having sex. Everything that you do leads up to sex. And any issues that you have don't really get resolved. I know a lot of arguments that we would have, they would just end in sex. The issue would never get fixed. So we'd be brushing stuff under the carpet and still have these issues, but still be having sex. So things really weren't getting fixed. Again, the quality of my relationship was not as good. And then as well, we didn't have like a genuine friendship. Yeah, he knew what I liked in bed, but he didn't know who I was. Didn't know, what was going on in my mind. Because when you have a relationship that's not based on sex, and again, this is from experience, you establish a friendship, and you guys are then able to follow God together because you have things other to talk about and do outside of sex. So me being the person I am, when sex was not in the picture, it was like, okay, well, who are you? You really begin to look at that person. You begin to see their qualities, because sex can be blinding. I was not seeing so much, oh, well, he's good at doing this. But so far, he has these types of qualities. I wasn't blinded by sex when I wasn't having it, okay? And so as well, you're able to learn more about that person. That person can learn, hey, for me, I like Thai food. Hey, I like to exercise. And we would be able to talk about those things and establish something real outside of sex. So I felt like the person knew me. And when they know me and they get to know me and they like what they see and they still want to be with me, then they genuinely care about me. They're not so much caring about, what's in my pants, but caring more about who I am. And that is so important. And so when you wait until marriage, and I'm not saying, wait 6 months, because that's how long I waited. I'm saying wait till marriage, because if they can walk that path with you, they have made a commitment. That's another thing. The quality of your relationship goes better because you have established a commitment. When you decide to remain celibate, you up the level of value that you hold yourself to. When I decided to be celibate, I told myself, I am of value. I don't have to, do all these things to get somebody to stay with me. Because a lot of times with girls, that's what the issue is. Girls sometimes are okay with not having sex. Of course, we do want to have sex. We're not going to say that. But we up the value of ourselves when we decide, I'm not going to do A, B, and C just to be with somebody. And that goes for guys as well, because sex can be a manipulative thing. When you put sex into a relationship that's not inside of marriage, sex can be manipulative. And I don't want to be manipulated into doing something that I don't want to do just to be with somebody. If you are in a relationship right now and they're telling you that they're not going to be with you unless you have sex with them, you're in the wrong relationship. I'm just going to be upfront and honest with you. I remember, before I had got married, me and my boyfriend at the time, we were trying to not have sex. And literally it had got to that point where I'm in the kitchen and I'm yelling at him. I'm saying, I am not going to have sex with you. I don't care how long you give me the silent treatment. I don't care if you break up with me right now. I don't care if you walk out the door right now, because I saw that I had value. I was of value, and that this was not going to be released unto him until he put a ring on my finger. So that's what happened, right? But again, the quality of my relationship was better because I valued myself, because we were able to establish a real relationship. I'm not out here getting STDs from everybody and their mama, because when you sleep with one person, you're sleeping with all the people that they slept with, and you don't know. People are not always as honest as you want them to be. So again, establish some reasons outside of your walk with God as to why you want to remain celibate. Now, when I was not celibate, when I was having sex consistently with my boyfriend, I had got my heart broke, literally, because a lot of times when you don't establish rules or boundaries within your relationship as far as sex goes, that person can have sex with you and they can have sex with somebody else too. I mean, vice versa, you have sex with other people, but you know, for girls, we feel like, okay, I want this to be exclusive. I just want you to have sex with me. And that's not always practical, if we be honest. So what happened was, I got my heart broke because we had broke up and we were still having sex. Anyways, we've all been there. So we broke up, still having sex, and I find out in the worst way possible, oh my God, that he was having sex with somebody else as well. So I began to feel dirty. I began to feel used. I'm like, so you just got me over here so that we could have sex? Like, do you really care about me? Again, that whole, like, do you care about me? Do you know me? Do you love me? Was gone. And so when you get married, you know that that's real. Like, you know this person wants to be with you. You know this person loves you because they put a ring on your finger. They've committed to marrying you, being with you the rest of their life. So it's safer. You know, God doesn't make rules or commandments or these things for us to follow just to be making them. He's doing it to protect us. And you know, now that I'm in a relationship where there is no sex, you know, and even the relationship I was in before being married, that relationship was 10 times better than when I was having sex. There was more loyalty in that relationship. There was more commitment in that relationship. There was a genuine friendship that was going on that would help sustain our relationship when sex was not there. And I mean, that's what you want in marriage, but you want to establish this now. If you want a better overall relationship with somebody, if you want to value yourself more, be celibate, because it's going to force you to not compromise. You know, a lot of times we compromise. A lot of times we say, well, maybe this, maybe that, and we have a lot of doubts and things. But when you say, I'm not going to do this, when you make that decision, you are not compromising. You are holding the value that you have. So I wanted overall better relationships with people. I wanted to value myself more. So I decided I'm not going to do this. And plus I saw that when I was having sex, I was getting my heart broke. Getting my heart broke left and right. I didn't need those issues, and so I just cut it out. Because that's what you do. You're giving yourself to somebody, and you're not sheltered in that area. At least within the context of marriage, you're protected by that commitment that you guys have. But when you're not solely with somebody, you're not solely married to that person, you leave yourself open to be hurt. And I was hurt, and that's what happened. So, you know, those are my practical reasons. Now, the Bible tells us that our body is a temple. Know ye not that you are the temple of the living God, that the Spirit of God dwells within you. So, literally, my body, because God, another one of the names for God is the Lord of hosts. If you think about germs or anything, a host is like a vessel. And so God, He dwells inside of us so that He can do His work. So if I am taking my body and I'm giving it to other people and I'm doing it in the wrong way, I'm literally giving God, taking God into sexual activity with these other people. God is not going to want to stay there. God's not going to want to reside with me. And of course, we can always pray to God about these issues. God knows us. He can help us to reveal our weaknesses to us, because this was my area of weakness. And so now I'm able to be more successful in my relationship because I've seen both sides. I'm not saying this because I'm trying to be churchy. I'm saying all this because this is the fact. So I'm done talking. I'm done rambling. I can't wait to see you guys' comments. I will see you next week. We're going to talk about something else. Again, this is the Live Right series, celibacy. Stay tuned.